Well, I finally managed to start on my Hawker Typhoon after all these years, and my first job of the day was to actually put together the RB Productions 1/24 scale Sutton QS, QL and QP harnesses. Now these are fairly straightforward. As you can see on the table here, I've actually put them together. They go together very, very simply as long as you follow the instructions. And the instructions are okay as long as you stay on your toes, if that makes sense. If I can just show you. This is all you get for the instructions. So basically on the left hand side you get a diagram showing the finish article, well on the right hand side too, and then it shows you how each element of the belt is put together. So you've got part C, part A, part H, and if you look on this part of the diagram here, it's split it down to show you how to feed it through the buckles. Now, like I say, it's very easy to make mistakes. I've lost one part and I've made one mistake, and I'm not going to tell you or show you what I've lost, so I'm not going to show you my mistake, but it's very easily done. Other than that, the actual parts themselves are very, very straightforward. The harnesses come on a cardboard backing, very easy to remove, very easy to thread through the eyelets of the hardware. If I can just show you some of the hardware, here we go. This is the kind of thread that you get with it, and it's like I say, it looks more complicated than it really is. It took me about an hour and a half to assemble the whole set of harnesses, and I'm actually very happy with how they've gone. I've lost one part and I got one part wrong, but I'm not going to tell you which. So yeah, that's where I am at the moment. Oh, just to let you know, to actually to glue the harnesses together, I used to use this stuff, Gator's Grip, but mine has I've had it for so long it's actually kind of gone off. If I open it, it's like very thick at the bottom, so I dispensed with that and I used just crystal clear instead, and it seemed to work very, very well. It's gripped everything, including the metal, very, very well. It's dried, well, as you know, it dries clear, and the actual finish on the harness themselves is great. It doesn't stain as super glue would, and I think you'll agree they look really, really good. You may notice on the back of the lap harnesses here, they're missing some buckles. If I just show them on the instructions here, these buckles here, they're missing off of mine. What I've done, as I tend to, I'm using a resin seat for the Typhoon, and what I've done, before I painted the seat, I attached those buckles directly to the seat with super glue to give me the best possible attachment that I could. So when I come to make the seats, it's just a case of threading those lap belts through those harnesses, gluing them, position them how I want, and that should be me. Now the seat itself I painted again 8 years ago. I'm going to redo it. I'm not very happy with it, so I'm going to respray it. I'm going to reprime it, respray it, and do it again, because I'm just not happy with the finish. So that's a resin seat, I think from Barracuda, if I remember correctly. Excuse me. So that's a seat. What I'll do now, I'll just give you a quick breakdown of the tools that I used, just in case you're wondering, because like I say, it may not be that obvious how to actually progress with these things, but it is easier than you might think. Now my first tool that I used was this innocuous looking bit of black perspex. Now I bought this many moons ago. It came with a PE bending tool. It was part of a set, and there was a little perspex holding tool as well, which I've subsequently lost, which is no biggie. But yeah, so it's a PE bending tool, and all this is, it's a piece of perspex, black perspex, that enables you to grab your bit of PE on a flat surface, grab a sharp hobby knife, another tool that I use, and just literally cut the bits of PE off. It works great. You can use a tile if you so wish, but I say I got this with this bending tool, this PE bending tool, and I've used it for donkey's years. You can see it's rather scuffed, a bit battered, but it still does the job. So that's my first top tip for working with PE. Get yourself a flat bit of perspex, bit of glass, a tile, anything like that to make cutting the PE away from the fret a lot easier. And secondly, rather than spending loads and loads of money on scalpels and Swanton Morley knives and all that kind of thing, all I use to cut the PE away from the fret is just one of these disposable Stanley knives or disposable craft knives. The blades break off very easily, so they're very simple to replace. So when you need to, just break it off, dispose of the shaft carefully, and that gives you a perfectly good strong blade for doing for working with PE. And the beauty of these things is you buy them in packs of 4 or 5, and they're like, I don't know, what, a tenner if that. I'm in the UK, so I get mine from places like B&Q, or which is a hardware store, or B&M, which is like a family store. Cheap as chips. I buy them by the dozen, and yeah, they're very disposable. So I don't use Swan Morton blades. I do have them, but I think really for what we do, these are more than adequate. When I've cut the bits of PE off of the fret, I use one of these PE. What do you call it? A PE picker-upper tool. I don't know what you call it. You go on Amazon or you go online. It's just basically it's a sticky pen for picking up bits of PE. You've got a thin end, you've got a thicker end. Works very, very well, and it allows you to place the PE very precisely when you've actually taken it off the fret. You can use wax pencils. That's another thing that you can use for moving the PE around, or you can also use a cocktail stick with a bit of blue tack on the end as another even cheaper method of moving the PE once you've taken it off the fret. Whichever option you go, any option you use, they're all very good, but that's the option that I have. For actually manipulating, or I'll try that again, the PE, once you've taken them off the fret, you do need some decent tweezers. Now I use these Tamiya craft tools, very fine tweezers, and I find them exceptionally good for handling pieces of PE. Like I say, the pieces that I was manipulating today were very fine, very small, and I only managed to lose one piece, and that was because it pinged off the fret whilst I was cutting it off, rather than when I was using my tweezers. But I've also got this cheaper pair of fatter tweezers from Amtech. Yeah, they are what they are, cheap and nasty, but they do the job, and they are very useful for holding bits of PE. So a couple of pairs of decent tweezers is a must, in my opinion. For assembling the belts, you need to measure certain lengths for the harness, the straps, to make sure you get them equal. Sounds silly, but I just use a decent metal ruler just to make the belts look uniform when you put them together. So again, a decent metal ruler, very handy when working with PE and doing things like making belts. For getting the nibs off of the piece of PE that you take off, just a simple diamond file. So you can grip it very gently and just take off the burrs. Again, nothing clever, not expensive. Get them from any model shop or even hardware stores. Again, 10 quid, and you can buy a selection of files. But again, they're very, 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 very useful for working with PE. So that's another little tool that I use. For applying glue, I like to sometimes use old paintbrushes just to be able to be precise when I'm putting the white glue. With the Gator's grip, because it was more liquid, you can plonk this anywhere, or you can put the glue anywhere using this, and it's very, very useful. So yeah, a decent thin paintbrush again is very, very handy for applying the white glue. It's only PVA glue, so it's very easy to clean off. Cocktail sticks, very handy again for applying glue. Enough said really, and like I say, you can put a bit of blue tack on the end if you so wish, and use these instead of the actual more expensive PE placer. Either or. These are cheap as chips, well, 50p for 150 sticks from my local supermarket. Yeah, work like a charm. Pencil. I like to, when I was making the belts, just make sure I got the same lengths on each belt, just a little mark, just so I know where I'm going. And yeah, so when they're finally finished, as you saw, the things are uniform and they look, yeah, and they look uniform. Because otherwise, my OCD will kick in and it upset me because they're not the same. And finally, I've already showed it. Now I use crystal clear. Like I say, don't use super glue because it will stain the belts. But I use crystal clear. It worked like a charm, to be quite honest with you. It dries clear. It's got a good grip to it. Enough said, really. So if you can't use crystal clear, or you can use, if you can get Gator Grip, use that obviously, or any other PVA glue. But like I say, don't use super glue because it will stain the belts, and yeah, you don't really want that. And that, gents, is all I used to create those belts. And like I say, they turned out really, really well. I'm very happy with how it's going. So I'm going to go away, I'm going to repaint this seat, I'm going to reprime it, tidy it up a little bit and repaint it, and give it a flat coat once I'm done. So yeah, that's all I managed to do today. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys very soon with another update. Cheers now, bye bye. Before I go, guys, there's actually one very important tool that I nearly forgot. Now, I'm a guy of a certain age, I'm over 50, my close-up eyesight isn't the best. So something that I find incredibly useful, and it's something you may have heard of, but you don't know what it is. And that's a thing called an optivisor. And basically, it's just a set of magnifiers. You can get them off from Amazon, you can get them off eBay. These are proper optivisors, so they weren't cheap. I think they're about £60. But like I say, if you struggle seeing close up, these things are great. I mean, it's just a headband, you put them on, and it enables you to do your close-up work. So yeah, I'd highly recommend for doing fiddly close-up work an optivisor without a shadow of a doubt. Well, guys, thanks so much for watching. I hope you found the video informative and useful. If you could like it and subscribe, that'd be great, because it'd really help the channel. And yeah, I've still got a long way to go, but I'm enjoying the experience of producing these videos. I enjoy the experience of showing you my models. So I am a very average modeller. I'm not brilliant, but I do give it a go. That's what I have for you today, guys. Take care, thanks for watching, and see you all very soon. Cheers now, bye bye.